And in the UFC Austin co-main event, we have Jalin Turner stepping in to take on Bobby Green in the lightweight division. Jalin Turner just accepted this fight last week. Bobby Green threw down the gauntlet after his last opponent bailed out on him and said, hey, who in the lightweight division can take on me? Mean King Bobby Green. And Jalin Turner said, fuck it, I'll do it. Jalin Turner's on a 2-fight skid. Why not do it? Bobby Green is going to get you a ton of publicity. He's going to get you a ton of views because people love watching Bobby Green fights. But Rick, people also love watching Jalin Turner fights. This guy is a freak. He is 6'3" and cuts down to 155 pounds. And I'll let you kind of deep dive what this means tactically for this fight. But that's like, I like Green here. I like Turner here. Jesus. Turner, the concern for me is that he's cutting this much weight in such a short time. If there was a bet on if he can make weight or not, I would bet that he's going to miss weight. And I think the fight's still going to happen, but that's just a concern for me that I don't think he's going to be able to cut all the weight in time. Where he was joking about it on, I forget what podcast it was, but essentially both the hosts were like, dude, you're not going to make weight. And he was just kind of sitting there smiling. It's like, I don't know what's going to happen there. At least for this weight miss, if he does miss, it's not a health concern. It's a short-term thing for me. So that doesn't really fit into my weight miss fade. I'm interested to see what you think about this bout, though, because all in all, this is going to be really entertaining. But I do feel that Jalin Turner is much, much more skilled than Bobby Green, to where I was surprised to see the odds. I think the odds are a weight and a timing factor.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to make weight. I don't think that he's really going to try to make weight. Like, I think he's going to give it like the old tough try. There's a phrase for that. The old
college try.
Yeah, the old college try. Thank you. He's going to give it the old college try just to save face and save face towards the UFC, USADA and stuff. I guess not USADA anymore.
Screw him.
But he didn't make weight against Dan Hooker, who Bobby Green was supposed to fight in this fight before Dan Hooker had to fall out. But that fight against Dan Hooker was very interesting. He lost by split decision, and I had him winning that fight, but it really came down to that second round. And in that second round, he almost broke Hooker. He nearly finished him. He had him bloodied or buried pretty much, but Dan Hooker survived because Dan Hooker has that dog in him, as we've seen throughout his career against Poirier and everybody else. He's just a dog, dude. He just loves to fight, despite the blonde hair that he's trying to be like Charles, even though he's Australian. Whatever. No, Derek, we don't need a Dan Hooker slander on this one. He already out because he's injured. But Dan Hooker then gave it back to him. And he exhausted Turner. Turner on the stool between rounds 2 and 3 looked like he was broken. Now he went out there and fought. He gave it his all. He wasn't broken, and we saw that dog in Turner as well. But that was an interesting moment in Turner's career where he's now lost his last 2 fights by split decision to Mateusz Gamrot and Dan Hooker, which happens. Those are 2 damn good fighters. And before that, he was finishing everybody with ease. Brock Weaver, Uris Medic, Jamie Malarkey, Brad Waddell. Not top-tier names, but respectable names nonetheless. But it's like you said, it's that length, and that's going to be the difference against Green, more so than usual for Green. Because, Green is so unique in that he keeps his hands behind, or can't speak. He's unique in that he keeps his hands low. He keeps them by his side, and he strikes from the hip. So you really can't see where he's striking from. And then to defend, he might bring them up, but he typically just rolls the shoulder and rolls with the punches. Against a guy in Turner who is going to rip your body with leg kicks, that doesn't really work. And Turner can also throw punches right off of that, and he does so consistently. Not only does he do that, but he's got counter hooks, and he's able to step away while landing them as well. So it's hard to really get rhythm against Turner, just as hard as it's hard to get rhythm against Green. And if we get into that stalemate where both guys are just standing across from each other and fight and just trying to land at range, well, I'll take the guy who's 6'3" with a 5-inch reach advantage over Bobby Green. So it's odd in that sense. And the odds themselves are a little particular to me as well, because I know Turner's taking it on short notice, and his cardio didn't look great against Dan Hooker, but that Dan Hooker fight was also as intense as it gets. And Turner was minus 250. Now he's minus 225. And I think that's even getting smaller. So people are really valuing the fact that Green had a camp and that Green was fighting or was training for a 5-round fight, not a 3-round fight. So they think that he's going to have that distinct cardio advantage. But 3-round fights really favor Jalin Turner. He is a go for broke type of guy who's going to try and go for finishes. And I think that he's likely able to get it here, or he gasses himself out and Bobby Green is able to hit something clean like he was against Grant Dawson in his last fight, where by surprise he knocked him out in 30 seconds. So I've got this fight bet or pick wise, I've got Turner to win the fight. I think the range is the difference. I sort of just laid out all the different reasons. But my official bet is the fight not to go the distance at -140. I think Turner is either able to find the finish, or the cardio and weight miss by Turner ends up breeding him exhausting himself, and Bobby Green just putting the pace on him until someone's got to stop it. So should be an interesting fight. There's a lot up in the air given the short notice and given the matchup differences between these two. But where are you going with your pick and your bet, Andy?
Yeah, so this one is an interesting one for me. I am going to pick Jalin Turner to win, and I am going to go cross sport similar to how I did in our last preview. I'm going to be parlaying Jalin Turner with Chargers money line as they travel to see the New England Patriots this weekend on Sunday. Again, I can talk more about the NFL matchup and some of our NFL content, which you can check out at happyhoursports.net. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can see some of that stuff too with DJ's podcast, Sharpen the Public. With Jalin Turner, I gave my kind of voice there. Turner, in my opinion, is going to beat him up in the striking. He is going to also be like, I don't think Green's necessarily going to try to take it to the feet. I think this is going to be all-out war on the feet. And with that, Turner's going to have the reach advantage. He's going to have the height advantage. He's going to have the strength advantage over Bobby Green. The risk is just the weight. But with last time, the weight cut, I believe, was it felt like he was really trying. And that's why we saw him so low on energy. So like just leached and sapped out of all of the energy and health in his body. He's got nothing to lose in this one unless he's weighing in like 20 pounds over. Oh, I exaggerate. Unless he's weighing in like 5 pounds over. I think that he will get it there. Like you said, he'll give it the old college try, and he's going to be healthy about doing it on a short notice. So I really like him to win this one, and we'll be parlaying it with the Chargers at -275, which brings you to even odds, actually, believe it or not. So I'm going with a full unit on that parlay of Chargers and Jalin Turner. And that's our co-main preview. We're both going with Jalin here. I love the man. It's really cool that he's got a bunch of pet tarantulas. Definitely look that up if you are interested and think that's as funny as I do. We've got the main event coming up in UFC Austin. Beneil Dariush taking on Arman Tsarukyan. So stay tuned with us as we preview this final fight of the card. Hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Pilsners and Prelims, a UFC betting podcast by Happy Hour Sports. Just want to ask if you could like and subscribe to the video if you like the content that we're putting out. And be sure to stay tuned to what we have coming up in the future. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you on the other side.